Good afternoon and good evening. This is Rich Harrison live on Smile Radio, and we are on TC Talks. Over to you, big man.
TC Talks back again. Great to be here again. Pretty excited about this show tonight. We have in the studio with us a guest, Lee Stagles, here today.
Hello.
Lee is going to be talking about everything about men's work. What is it? How can it help men up and down the country? Where did it come from? Why is it so important? Why is it so important to me from a personal point of view? So we're going to get into all that. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a really in-depth conversation, knowing Lee as I do. We've also got Niall in the studio at the background here. Niall's going to be doing some social media for me on Instagram. Tom Fitz at 1974, I think my tag is, on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, go and check it out. As always, we're going to start with an Irish tune, and this is more significant this week because we're getting berated for causing you some problems with Brexit this week. So we're going to give it, and this is pretty appropriate for Brexit at the minute because this is the Cranberries and Linger. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Always good to have an Irish tune to kick us off. I'm going to be having a decent one for the Christmas show next week because you know I'm the Grinch. Right, so let's get into this. Men's work. 12 men a day in this country are taking their own lives. I nearly said committing suicide. I shouldn't say that. Are taking their own lives. That means between now and Christmas Day, 12 days' time, 144 men will no longer be with us. That's fathers, sons, uncles, brothers will no longer be with us to celebrate Christmas. That, to me, even when I mention those numbers, I'm thinking, if I put 144 men in a room or in a group, and to know that those men will not be seeing their families, their mums, their dads, it sends a shiver down my spine. So the reason tonight I wanted to talk about this is because that statistic, there's an ever increasing group of men who do what we call men's work. Now, this is not a new thing. We've been doing this since the dawn of time, but men's work is for me has been very important over the last few years in my recovery, not from addiction, but my recovery as a man, from a boy to a man. Now, my recovery started 5 years ago, becoming a man, believe it or not. Absolutely unbelievable that I managed to get to 39 years of age and still acting like a teenage boy. I was first introduced to men's work by the guy we have in the studio, Lee Stagles. Lee Stagles is what I call a man's guru. He doesn't like being called a guru, but he's a man coach. He's been delivering men's groups for a number of years, and we're going to ask him about that in a minute. He's also a domestic abuse prevention practitioner at Wakefield Council. So welcome to the show, Lee.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Great to have you. Let's get into the straightforward question. When I talk about men's work to other men, they go, it's a bit weird that. I don't understand it. What is men's work?
Okay, the quick answer is not the easy one. It's whatever men need.
Okay, so whatever men need in their day-to-day lives to get through, from an emotional point of view or from a physical point of view?
From both. Both, in fact, yeah. Yeah, there's more, as the men's work community is growing, and it is growing really slowly, there's much more movement coming into the talking stuff that's going on.
Yeah. So I mentioned there that we've been doing men's work since the annals of time, since the beginning. I've always seen it as a tribal thing, that we all sit around and we share our experiences of life. Is that a fair representation?
I would say it's a fair representation. Something that certainly I experienced when I first stepped into men's work, and I hear this a lot as well, is sitting in a circle of men was really the first time that I was ever really listened to,
so
or ever felt heard.
Felt heard. You see, that to me, that's a really powerful thing. We have a big movement at the minute of people saying it's okay to talk, it's okay to talk, it's okay to talk. But who's listening?
Well,
who's hearing us? And I think that's the thing that I really want to get into tonight, is that we're encouraged. We're told that men can't talk.
Oh, really?
They've never been to a men's group meeting.
They've never been to a men's group, no.
So we can talk, but you've just hit the nail on the head. Are we being heard?
Yeah.
So men's group, men's work, can men's work be done just by two men on their own, or does it have to be a group?
Yes.
This is one of Lee's answers.
Yes, and
you'll get used to Lee's
that'll
answers.
be yes, and two men group community. Yes, and
yeah. But
yeah, it's okay. Yeah, to answer the question, a men's group. Ideally, I think the recommended number is a minimum of 6, and I believe the ideal number for a group is 9. Okay. So that's in a group.
Yeah.
And it depends on what the group's for. There's a group, a plug for Andy's Man Club, around the area, around the region certainly. I think maybe even nationwide. Luke's taking this thing, and it's a really, really good space for men to be able to sit and talk. And if there's more than the required amount, then there's another room, and men can sit and talk for a 2-hour meeting on a Monday evening, and it's a great place to go to. It's a great place to go to, and he's working in suicide prevention. So it's a great place for men to go to if we're feeling down. If we're feeling really down, then that's there.
Do you have to be feeling down to be part of a men's group?
No, you don't. This is why men's work is whatever men need. So we can. There are various events that go on around the country. There aren't a great deal of them, but there are some. Men can go away for a weekend of men's work. I spent 2 days doing men's work only on the Remembrance weekend, and it was around the Remembrance. 10 men, 2 days, a really great piece of work. Men's work is about men supporting men being interested with other men, and men to nurture and men to love other men, and it be okay.
Yeah, and I think that's the bit that people struggle with, because certainly the feeling I get is that when you get a group of men together, people think we're colluding, we're up to something. We must be plotting, we must be discussing how bad our wives are and how bad our partners are. And I think when we first met, and this 2013, I was on my run across America. Did I tell you I've run across America?
Have you got a book out?
I have got a book out. Yeah, it's not about the beard.
Did you run across America?
I did. Have you not? I'll tell you. Like, so Lee tweeted me during the run across America and said, "Look, we need to hook up when you come back," and we did. And I'll be honest with you, I was a little bit scared because we were going to meet a group of men together, and we're actually meeting in a caravan on Lee's driveway, which was the original meeting space. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on here? Why would I want to put myself in a space where men are sitting around in a caravan, drinking coffee and eating biscuits? It's a bit weird. That was how I felt about it, and I'll be amazed if there's not more men out there who are thinking, hold on here, you've just said for men to love each other. What's going on with that?
Well.
You know, and this is a word, and we've mentioned love on this show on most of the topics we've discussed. That love is so important in everything we do, but it's something that as men, we really struggle showing our affections to each other and how much we care about each other. And one of the things that struck me when I first got involved in men's group was the fact that we all call each other brother. And it's something I've carried on to my life. I call Niall brother on regular occasions. He's definitely not my brother. He's a little bit too young to be my brother. But I call him brother because I do think that we are in a brotherhood. And I think is that important to refer to each other as brother?
It's as important as any man wants it to be, Tom.
Yeah.
It is. There's a circle that you and I are in where we each refer to each other as brother. And there are other circles in men's work that I'm in where we don't.
Yeah.
And both of those are okay because they're both very different. They're both quite different environments because they're about different things. Yeah. So yes, in our particular group, in the group that you and I share, I think it really is important. And that's what I don't know what it feels like to have a brother. I have a sister. It's kind of how I want it to be.
Yeah, I think that's important. Is that you know, these are guys that we've invited into our lives.
Yes.
Because nobody has to be in the group. Nobody has to be in the group at all. So, why would a man go into a man's group? Why would he choose to join a men's group?
This is a quote from a teacher of mine, Robert Bly. He talked about a man recognising the numbness between his neck and his groin by the time he gets to 35. So, when you recognise a numbness between your neck and a groin, men, join a men's group.
So let's talk about is it when you feel nothing,
or when we feel and we don't understand what it is, or we feel. I remember in my own experience, I would feel really good, or not, and that was it. It got so binary for me when I was in. Kind of noticing how I was feeling. So it's that's how it was for me. And
why has he chosen the age of 35? Do you think when Robert Bly talks about that, around about the age of 35, what's significant about that? Is there significance?
I
Or
guess
is
that'd
that
be
just when-
subjective, wouldn't it?
Is
I
that just
think
when
that
men are
would be
getting to that stage in their life where they're starting to question things and starting to realise that
maybe so.
their childhood dreams haven't turned out the way, the Ferrari isn't on the driveway, and maybe the partner that they wanted hasn't arrived,
Possibly, and equally so for the guy where the Ferrari is on the driveway.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, if there's somewhere to go, if there's somewhere where if there's any place where we're not okay, then men's work.
Great stuff. Now we're going to break for a song, and we're going to go with. Now Lee's chosen these songs. I'm going to speak about it after the song, but the first one is U.2. Sometimes you can't make it on your own.
You think you've got the stuff, you're telling me and anyone you're hard enough. You don't have to put up a fight, you don't have to always be right. Let me take some of the punches for you tonight. Listen to me now, I need to let you know you don't have to go it alone. And it's you when I look in the mirror, and it's you when I don't pick up the phone. Sometimes you can't make it on your own. We fight all the time, you and I, that's alright. We're the same soul. I don't need to hear you say that if we weren't so alike, you'd like me a whole lot more. Listen to me now, I need to let you know
So we're back with TC Talks live on Smile Radio. So back to you and Lee.
Cheers, Richard. Why did you choose that song?
Well, because he wrote it about his dad, and it kind of fits with me that sometimes I can't do things on my own, and it took me quite a number of years to get to that. Yeah.
The connection with the dad, I mean, we've just talked off air about it, and it's the one thing we all pick up on, that connection with his father. And it's so profound, the words, that he's written out about his father. And I think that's where men's work comes into it. Up until we met, I was doing it on my own. I was making it up as I went along. I lost my father when I was 13, and literally just made up being a man from the different examples I was being given from around me in the construction industry, from my sister's boyfriends, from men that I was just playing football with, all these different types of characters, and I was kind of pulling bits from all of them, and I modelled it all together, slapped it down on the table, went, that's my example of a man, that's who I'm going to be. And I picked the best out of who I thought were the best. And what I realised by the time I'd got to a certain age is that I'd picked from the wrong people. Or maybe I picked from the right people, I just need to learn a lesson.
Well,
So picked from the wrong people. I got to 33, got sober, thought I had everything sorted, thought I was on the, this is the trajectory I need to go on, everything's going to be okay. And still couldn't get me stuff together. Still making mistakes, we're still not getting it right, we're still having struggles in my relationship with Zoe, we're still acting like a teenager, we're still behaving like a child, we're still having childlike comments to my children, wasn't bringing them up the way I probably should have been. And then men's work. And I'll never forget one of the comments that was made to me very early on in men's work, which was, evolution, brother, evolution is what you need. And I was like, what's he mean by that? Evolution? I'm in recovery. I've beaten an alcohol addiction. I've got it sorted. And then as the years went on, I realised that what you've just said about the emptiness. The emptiness that we had, or I had, was so profound. But here's the thing. I didn't know it was emptiness. Because I never knew it was there before.
yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
The-
totally.
I had nothing in there, so I didn't know there was anything missing, because nobody had shown me how to either feel, be, act, talk, listen, be heard. Nobody had taught me how to be heard. So that emptiness you're talking about is definitely something that I can get 100%. What about yourself, Lee? Where did the emptiness? When did you realise there was emptiness?
The emptiness for me came when I realised that it kind of became profoundly noticeable when I realised that I didn't know what I was doing.
In what respect?
Well, when I'd been stopped, as opposed to stopping myself from doing something.
Mm-hmm.
That was the point for me where it was probably the first time I'd ever really looked at myself. I checked myself out.
So when somebody stopped you from a particular behaviour patterns and things,
Yeah.
and this is something that I got from you guys, is that I'm going to tell a story about the butter.
Okay.
The story about the butter?
Yeah.
So in my house, I'm having a rant and a rave one day about there's no butter in the house. And I'm completely kicking off. This is ridiculous. Why is there no butter in the house? And Lee sent me a message and he said, when the king wants butter, the king goes and gets butter. And I was like, and when the penny drops and you go, right, I see what you're getting at here. I'm actually the king. And I'm acting like the prince. And it was like, well, yeah, not that I wonder things aren't working out at home. You know what I mean? And it was that. So when somebody stops you doing a particular thing, and you start to then check yourself and start.
That's right.
And did you know it was the emptiness straight away?
Oh, yes, absolutely, straight away.
Yeah.
Straight away. The emptiness.
So for somebody that's struggling, because I didn't know what the emptiness felt like, what do you reckon? What's the key indicators for somebody who's getting to that point where a men's group might be just something they need?
Oh wow, they'll know from if they listen to something like this, or if they read anything to do with men's work, they'll kind of know. But what are the key indicators? What for other people to look at, or for them to look at
for them themselves? Because here's the thing, like, well, we've talked off air about men's work, and Richard doesn't never heard of men's work until today. And there's lots of men out there that'll be listening to this and be going, "What the hell? What are they talking about? I've never heard of men's work."
Well,
and even literature.
I've heard you refer to it, and you know, and then I'll ask that, and then the moment's gone, you know.
Yeah.
But it intrigues me, and it's
But,
you know.
but Richard, you're not alone here. We dismiss it because we don't understand it, and lots of men will be out there dismissing men's work because they don't understand it. And you're talking about, oh, they'll read a book of men's work. Well, you know, you go into Waterstones. How many books on men's work are there?
Wow, probably not very many.
Exactly.
Probably not very
so
many.
Okay, so well, that's what the reason I'm asking the question is, if there's a man sitting out there tonight listening to this, and he's kind of listened to the emptiness thing, and he's kind of gone, do you know what? I can feel something here. There's something that these guys are saying. What do they need to look for?
If they look on Facebook,
No.
Oh, sorry.
For themselves.
For themselves,
What's the indicators of their behaviour that they might need a men's group?
they're wasting a lot of time. I would say is one of the indicators.
In what way?
In the way of fire gazing, in the way of sitting and not being productive,
Putting things off.
possibly putting things off.
What's the posh word?
Procrastinate.
Thank you
yeah,
very
but,
much.
Yeah, it's maybe procrastinating. It's more of having few friends, having the awful situation of only having your partner as emotional support.
I was about to say that.
Yeah.
When your wife's your best friend.
Yeah, when your wife's your best friend, really?
You need a men's group.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, but that might be a revelation to some people. And there'll be some women out there that'll be listening to this going, how dare you say that to my husband? I'm his best friend.
Yeah.
Sorry, but here's a little eye-opener for you. Your husband needs to go and see some other men and needs to be around men. Is that what I'm being right there?
I
I'm
would
being
think
a bit
so.
too cold
I would think
there?
so. And I'm fairly confident you'll be pleased
Yeah.
when he does.
Yeah. And again, this is something that was a revelation to me over the last few months, that my partner's always gone, if it hadn't been for men's group, I don't know where it would have been.
Wow, okay.
You know, because she's seen so much of my evolution in the last 5 years, me being more spiritual, me being more understanding of her needs, me being more understanding of that she's not my emotional dustbin. I don't have to dump on her. And she trusts me more. The fact that she knows if I have a problem, there's a group of men around me that will listen, and I will be heard. And I think that's really important for men out there who are sat there with their wives or their partners and been told, tell me what's on your mind.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah.
Don't, guys. Is that, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't be sharing that intimate stuff or dumping stuff, because you create a bit of a power problem, don't you? A bit of an imbalance in the
Potentially,
relationship.
yeah, potentially.
Because you don't become the king anymore.
Absolutely, and some stuff, exactly the same way that some stuff that women have going on is women's business. There's stuff that goes on for men that I really believe is men's business.
Yeah.
And
Would not some people think that that's a chauvinistic way or thought process?
probably, but that doesn't make them right.
No. I'm on it. I'm just
Yeah.
playing devil's advocate here. I'm thinking of it as a not a neutral because I'm a man, but do you know what I mean?
The chauvinistic thing is and I've had this in the past where they go, you're going in a men's group to talk about your wives, and you got it perfectly for me in the early days where we do men's work so we become I'm not going to say better men, but we improve ourselves and our partners get a better man. So I'm going to coin a phrase from the All Blacks, better men make better All Blacks. We become better men by sharing our stuff between men.
Yes.
And we have a shared experience. And the All Blacks don't use that for fun, because they firmly believe, from the tribal system of the Maoris, that better men will perform better on a field. So if you're better in your relationships, if you're better in your parenting, if you're better in your particular job, you will be better on the field of play. So from people will often say that to us, that you're just bagging your wives and you're talking about you're a bunch of chauvinists. We're 100%, and I want to get this clear to guys tonight, we are 100% not that way. I've never sat in a men's group and listened to any man agreeing to speaking ill of their wife, to a point where you go, hold on here. Never been supported in that view.
Mm-hmm.
If they're having problems, that's fine with the wife. But have you ever been in a group where somebody's gone, yeah, that's great, go and sleep with your secretary, or go and do whatever you want to do? I would, and that's what I was expecting. I was expecting to go in and go, oh, they'll just support it, be like down the pub. We'll just have, oh, you want to tell her to shut her mouth when she's giving you a bit of lip. Which is what we would get in the pub years ago. It'd be like, tell her to shut up. What do you mean she wants you home for your tea? Tell her to put it in the microwave. I've never once heard any sort of behaviour like that in a men's group. Because
I'm not suggesting you're a chauvinist, by the way. I would just
but
throw
that's
it out
okay.
there.
But it's important to get that message out there that in no men's group that I've ever been a part of, and if you have heard that in a men's group, you need to change your men's group.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because that's not what the way what men's work's all about. So the emptiness we've talked about, we're gonna. For me, it's so important that other men out there get these indicators right. So they're going to be staring into the fire. They're going to be putting things off. Any violence coming out,
Potentially, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
anger, frustration.
Yeah.
It's manifesting itself as a physical. Pushing it out on people, either verbally or physically.
Yeah, and some other stuff before that. A lot of sulking. Maybe if we can recognise when we're doing lots of sulking that maybe there's some help out there for us. We might not get as far as violence.
Yeah, because sulking is something that certainly most teenage boys do. And can we make the connection, Lee?
What, from boys to men?
Yeah.
I don't know. Can we make the connection from boys to men? We can have a go.
Is there a problem with the transition from our teenage selves to manhood, a new phenomenon, or is it something that has been going on forever?
I think it's been something that's going on forever. We've recently had the anniversary of the First World War. If you look at the population figures for the end of the war from before the war, there were a lot less men around. So that has to have had an effect. We look at industrialisation at the end of the 18th century, where a lot of men, we just got to have an effect. And if we look at the flows, if we look at it, yeah, it's been around forever.
Yeah. But is there something we're doing wrong at the minute that's allowing 12 men a day to take their own lives? Is there something society's doing wrong, that we're not getting this right, that we're not making the transition into manhood, that's keeping us safe? Or is it just simply a case of we need to, I'm going to use the phrase that we always hate, we need to man up?
Well, I think you've given me an or question again, haven't you? So the answer is yes to both. It has to be. There's also, I've forgotten the question when I'm thinking about the answer.
Is it something that we have to man up about, or is there something that we're getting wrong?
Okay, yes. Well, there's one thing I think that we have to man up about is about taking on our own problems. That's one thing we have to man up about.
Owning our
own problems. Owning our own problems as individuals, owning our own problems as men, and step up and get things sorted out. There's work to do. What we're doing wrong, I think the thing that we're doing wrong is that men are not engaging with men. Men are not engaging with boys. I think absent fathers is a big problem. And I don't mean, or necessarily, I'm not just talking about the fathers who don't live with their families. I'm also talking about the fathers who are working long hours and don't see their children. The fathers that are working away, the fathers that are absent from their families' lives. I think that's a big problem.
Certainly for young men or
Yeah.
for young boys who are wanting to have that connection,
Yes.
to be taught, and also I suppose the language that some men are using that we do learn from our fathers. If you're lucky enough to have a father for long enough, you do learn from your father. And if your father can't use the language because he doesn't feel like he's being heard, then eventually he'll stop talking.
Yeah.
He probably has stopped talking because he's realising he's not being heard. So are men not being heard at the moment?
Yes, men are not being heard, but and nobody can hear what men aren't saying.
True.
If men are isolating themselves and they're not speaking, then nobody can hear them. And I think that's part of the stepping up and taking responsibility for being whoever we are, and stepping forward. And if we're in a place where we're stuck, then ask for help.
I think as well, this might just be me, but I'm often, I wouldn't use the word scared. Social media is a real issue for me when it comes to talking about men's work, because I don't want to get into a debate with people about male privilege.
Okay.
Women saying, "Oh, it's all right for you guys, you're all right," or other people saying, "What have you got to moan about?" And I think there's a little bit of that going on when we talk about. I think men want to be heard, but they're scared to be heard because they're worried about what people might throw back at them.
Okay.
You're in a better position than women are. You've got more rights. You've this, that, and the other. And I really think that has an effect, certainly in social media, that we struggle with this whole conversation of going, do you know what? I'm a white working class male who doesn't understand my role. I'm struggling with where I fit. What's my purpose? Because I didn't want to turn this into a rant about feminism or anything like that. It's not about that. But this is me personally. I'm not needed at home to raise my kids anymore because my wife earns more money than me. I'm not needed at work because I'm rubbish at what I do, allegedly. I've no drive, I've no passion. I'm not as strong as I used to be. I'm not as fit as I used to be. I kind of feel a little bit useless. But I'm scared to put that out there sometimes. And I do put it out there, but I'm sometimes scared to put it out there because people will turn around and go, "What have you got to moan about? You're a man. You're a lot better off than everyone, than us women. You're a lot better off than such and such from years ago." Is it wrong for me to feel like that?
Well, it's a competition I wouldn't want to win.
Yeah.
We can all compare ourselves, can't we? And just go out and speak to the first 20 random people that you see and ask them about their lives. We're all the same. We've all got stuff going on. Everybody's, don't get too morbidly. Yeah, everybody's got a family member who's ill or has had one
it's
recently.
All relative, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
all relative to what your personal situation is.
Yeah.
Because how can you compare? Well, what's worse for one and what's worse for another?
Exactly.
It's a really difficult question to answer, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the point I'm trying to make is that you do get it thrown back that we are more privileged. We're males.
Yeah, and you said feminist, and it's like I didn't really want to go.
I don't want to go
feminism.
there.
Yeah, I'm not a feminist, and I'm not an anti-feminist. There's two models. One model is equality of opportunity. It's a model I support fully. Another model is equality of outcome. And somebody complaining about their own status in comparison to somebody else is equality of outcome. And we can't have equality of outcome because we're not all the same person. It's got to be subjective.
Mm-hmm.
So if people comment on that, then it's a lack of education. And I don't know whether that's your responsibility to educate them or not, or ignore them, Tom.
Yeah, I think sometimes, and again, it's for men who don't know anything about men's work. When they're really struggling and they're feeling like, well, I don't know where I fit in here. And I'm lucky in the fact that I have got men's work around. I've got the good group of men that I can ring up and go, "Look, guys, I'm struggling with this bit." So, I've openly talked about this year again, having suicidal thoughts and being really down and being in a deep depression. But these guys have been around me, you know, and they have been around me, literally been around me, to make sure that I'm okay. They've come and sat in my house and done all these things. But there are men out there who are going, I don't know what to do. I don't know where I fit. I don't know. So I think it's those men who wanting to be heard is one thing, but having the guts sometimes to say, I want to be heard, is also a problem. You know. I think we're going to break for a song. I think that's a good place to break for a song. We're going to go for Lou Reed. Who am I? Do you want to tell us why, before or after?
After.
I'll tell us after.
Thank you.
Lou Reed.
You're listening to TC Talks live on Smile Radio. Don't forget, if you missed the show, you can listen again download the podcast on Podbean, and it's available on Facebook as well. So, Lou Reed.
Sometimes I wonder, who am I? The world seeming to pass me by. A younger man, now getting old. I have to wonder what the rest of life will hold. I hold a mirror to my face. There are some lines that I could trace to memories of loving you, the passion that breaks reason in two. I have to think and stop me now. If reminiscences make you frown, one thinks of what one hoped to be, and then faces reality. Sometimes I wonder, who am I? Who made the trees? Who made the sky? Who made the storms? Who made heartbreak? I wonder how much life I can take. I know I like to dream a lot and think of other worlds that are not. I hate that I need air to breathe. I'd like to leave this body and be free. I'd like to float like a mystic child. I'd like to kiss an angel on the brow. I'd like to solve the mysteries of life by cutting someone's throat or removing their heart. You'd like to see me be. You'd like to hold your eyes, and though you know I'm dead, you'd like to hold my thighs. If it's wrong to think on this, to hold the dead past in your fist, why were we given memories? Let us lose our minds and be set free. Sometimes I wonder, who am I? The world seeming to pass me by. A younger man now getting old. I have to wonder what the rest of life will hold. I wonder, I wonder, who started this? Was God involved and gave a kiss to someone who later betrayed? to someone who later betrayed. And godless love sent us away.
Okay. Come on then, Lee. Why did you choose Lou Reed?
It's a really good song, don't you think?
That's all
It's a
right.
really good title, and it goes into a bit. Yeah, it was a really popular song for me. When I first got into men's work, actually, it really helped me to kind of go inside, and I had lots and lots of questions, and it's a song of questions.
Like it. Okay, so coming to the final part of the show, I want to know, what can a man expect when he joins a men's group? I know what a man can expect when he joins a men's group, but can you summarise what you should expect?
What I would expect a man to get when he joins a men's group, and not all men's groups are the same, they're all run by different, there's quite a few different available structures that are out there that have been written about, and men gather however they gather. I would say a man, for it to be called a men's group, there would be a integrity would be called for, turn up on time, respect within the group, one man talking at a time, presence from the men, eye contact in conversation, working towards or being able to take responsibility, in a sense of being response able, to be able to respond appropriately to challenges and things.
Yeah, because that's important. You've got to remember this, guys. If you do get into a men's group, you're going to be challenged.
Oh, you're going to be
You're
challenged.
going to be challenged. You're
yeah.
going to come out with some stuff, and you're going to go, I'm going to get away with this. I'm going to just dump this on the group, and they're going to ignore it, and they're going to go, whoa, hold on here,
Yeah.
back it up. I want to talk about that, and they're going to really. I've been uncomfortable in times, really uncomfortable, to the point where you've wanted to leave, where the men have really gone at you in a constructive way, but they've called out your BS. So you've tried to come in and said, "Oh, I'm feeling like this," and especially with this guy here, he's like Yoda, he'll detect anything. He'll just go, "That's BS. I'm not having that." And we used to have a BS button.
We did, yeah. We did.
It's like, you know what I mean? We used to press it when we detected it. Sorry, I just thought I'd get that in there. You know what I mean? Men have got to realise you're going to be challenged.
Yeah.
So integrity, presence.
And with the challenge thing as well, not every group is a challenge circle. Not every group is a challenge group. There are various different formats with various different ways in. For some guys, a challenge group is going to be just too heavy. I'm not joining men's group to be challenged.
Yeah.
So So challenge, it's certainly in the group that you and I share.
Are we ever a finished article then from men's work?
I don't think so.
It's a
I don't
continued
think so.
process.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you've just been talking off there that what can a man expect to feel? Feel heard, would you say?
Absolutely, feel heard, and the more he stays in the process, the more he gets to know himself, the more he gets to accept his life and how it is, and the more he's geared up to be able to set some really good intentions and then carry them through, hopefully within a circle of men, and feel supported throughout the entire process, and continuing support.
I think that's really important to get across the being heard part. We can talk about people, wanting people's attention, wanting even from your wife, what about me? That sort of can carry on. And with men's work, you get to a point where you don't need that.
Yeah.
You don't need to wave at your wife and go, "Hey, don't forget I'm here," because you don't need it. You've been heard by your men. You know what you're doing. You know how you're going to approach it, and even during the difficult times. I think that's important. Is just because you do men's work doesn't mean you're not going to have problems, does it?
Oh, no way.
You know what I mean? And that's important to get across, isn't it?
Well, as soon as our awareness increases, then we're aware of more problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I must admit, in the first year or two, I actually had more issues come out in the first year or two of men's work, where I really had to. I was frustrated with myself, thinking I've done all this work on addiction, and I forgot this bit.
Yeah.
I forgot the work on the man part.
Yeah.
And it can be frustrating. So any men who are thinking of embarking on this, it's not an easy ride, is it?
It's more fun, though.
It is more fun.
It's definitely worth it in my experience, and the kind of feedback that I get and I share with other guys in it, it's definitely worth doing.
How long have you been a member of a men's group?
I've been a member of a men's group for, I think, around 10 years. 10 and a half years I've been in there. I've been in one men's group. That's the longest men's group I've been in.
I think that's important to remember. That it's almost like a lifetime commitment.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and whether you stay in that same men's group for 10 years or whether you flit around and go to different men's groups to get different things, it's a lifetime commitment to men's work, to being involved with a group of people that are going to listen to you, are going to offer advice if you want it, because I think that's important as well. You don't have to take every piece of advice that's offered to you.
No, absolutely not. No, everything's an invitation.
Yeah, you know, and there are some times when you check in, because we talk about checking in, and we haven't really discussed that tonight, but where people offer feedback. Do you want feedback? And sometimes you'll go, nah, I don't fancy feedback on that one. And that's when people will start to go, I think you need feedback. So it is, and I think that's the beauty of men's work, is that nothing goes unchallenged if it's appropriate. So if a man says, I don't want you to challenge me on this, I don't want any feedback, some way in that conversation we will get back. And I think that's why it's important so some people will be saying, and I need to be quick on this, some people will say, well, why don't we just meet in a pub, go for a couple of pints and talk over a beer. And I think the important thing for me, and this isn't just me because I'm a recovering alcoholic, this is because I firmly believe that as soon as you start to put alcohol into your system, you start to speak with ego, a little bit of ego going on.
You're no longer present.
There you go.
Simple as that. No longer present.
Also,
the thing requires presence.
And also when you're in a pub, I don't know, have you ever been in a pub, Richard?
I've frequented a couple in my time.
So, and we've got to be careful what I say here, but you go into a pub and you might have somebody walking behind the bar, or a couple of young ladies walk in, and the chest puff out, the old peacock start strutting around, and men change their language.
Absolutely.
Certainly around women. And they change so dramatically, and I've seen it happening where I'm having a conversation with somebody and somebody's walked in and all of a sudden this conversation is completely over the top. It's completely about how good I am, and you go, hold on here, you weren't telling me that 2 minutes ago, you were telling me you're an absolute basket case. So what how's that happen? So I think it's important to remember that men's work has to be done we do it at my place at home. So finding the right space is a very important.
Absolutely, it's a space. It's a space where we can feel safe to express ourselves. All the groups that I'm in, we have rules around confidentiality. So what's said in the space stays in the space. And there's something about that I think is very, very important. That allows that freedom. It allows that kind of journey to vulnerability.
Trust is a massive thing, though, isn't it? It's a massive thing in any walk of life, but especially in something that's so personal. Because once that trust is gone, you know, it's shattered, isn't it? And it completely makes a mockery of everything you're trying to achieve.
Well, I mean, just a very trivial example. I'd speak to my mum's next door neighbour about my mother and all this sort of carry on, and I tell them it just general chit chat. And my mother, who you know, she's elderly and she doesn't get out of the house that much, was able to tell me everything I'd said to him. I said, "How did you hear about that?" She says, "Well, he told your sister." I went, hold on here, I've had a conversation with a man, and I would expect that's a man chat, and you know, it's just men chat. And as soon as he's seen my sister, he's gone, "Oh, I was talking to your brother the other day, and he told me this." So for me, the trust's gone with him now, and I can't talk to him anymore. I might say hello to him, but I was really disappointed because I quite like chatting to this old boy next door to my mum's, and he's literally just betrayed my trust by, and some of the stuff that I was saying really annoyed me mum. So it's all those things that I'm going, I can't believe he's just gone and blabbed like that. But it is really important to get across that everything that's said in the men's group, and if it does get out, that man is dealt with appropriately, i.e. asked to leave the group. So if somebody's out shouting their mouth off on Facebook or talking to people about stuff that's discussed within a men's space, we're pretty robust on that one, aren't we?
Yeah, and I think most men's groups would be. Yeah,
Yeah, because it is a complete betrayal of trust.
Yeah, I would hope all men's groups would be, actually. Yeah.
Good stuff. Right, we're going to another few minutes, haven't we?
Yeah, we've got a few minutes,
We're down to the last sort of couple of minutes now.
And any last words, Lee, about men's group? What's the last thing you want to say about men's work? How important is it to you in your life?
It's pretty much my purpose in life, is to raise men, raise the standard of men.
And if you have a message to hand out or to send out to any man who's struggling tonight,
Get in touch with someone. Get in touch. If you're struggling tonight, then there's the emergency services. There's Samaritans. There's stuff online. There's charities around the place that are going to be able to do things for you. If you're struggling tonight, if we're interested in men's work, do a Facebook search and see what's around. There are some men's group directories on there. We're kind of so new and we're a little bit late to the online party, I think. And there isn't a really good infrastructure for it online.
If people want to get in touch with us, you can get in touch with me, Richard at smileradio.co, and I can forward things on Smile Radio Yorkshire. Get in touch on Facebook and Twitter. So get in touch with us, and I can point you in the right direction. Get in touch with you, Lee and Tom. So.
and I think that's important that we do follow that up, and we put something on there to say, look, these are the places. So if you can supply some information to men, then that'd be great, Lee. We're going to wrap it up now. Your last song is called Tom Adele, Hold Me. And I'm going to ask you now, why have you chosen this one?
Because it's hauntingly beautiful. I find it hauntingly beautiful. I find it really, really moving because I first heard it during, it was on a training course I was on that had a really powerful effect on me. And every time I hear it, it's still just as powerful.
I think
There's a feeling of love.
Love.
A feeling of love, an almost overwhelming, joyous love the feeling brings.
I love that, guys, because in every talk we've had, in everything we've discussed, the word love always comes out. Almost at the end, this is what's missing in the world.
Love is all you need.
Love is all you need,
Totally.
but it's far more powerful than that. I think love is what we should share.
Love and purpose. I'll go with love and purpose, not just love on its own.
Okay, guys. As always, great show.
Thank you.
Thanks to Niall in the background. He hasn't said much tonight, so he's just been observing. So it's been great to have him around. Richard is always on the knobs as he is. Very good on those knobs.
Getting better.
Getting better. We'll come back. We're doing one before Christmas.
Yes, yeah, we can do it next.
And I'm going to put on a Christmas jumper.
Woo.
No, I'm not. That's a complete lie. I'm not. But I will have a Christmas song, an Irish song. So we're going to finish with Tom Adele. Thanks for listening. I'll speak to you next week.
Thank you.
I shouldn't say it. I'm starting to think I care. I've had a drink, you probably think